Yo, what is up? It's your boy Chillindo, Chili, whatever the hell you want to call me. It's your boy Chili, putting out my first YouTube video. I don't really know how this is gonna go. It's probably gonna be a little ugly. The editing is gonna be off. Like, just let it be what it's gonna be, all right? In this video, I'm just gonna give a little review of the live action version of one of my favorite anime of all time, Cowboy Bebop. Now, if you've seen Cowboy Bebop and you have a brain, just kidding. But no, for real, if you have a brain and you see Cowboy Bebop, you know Cowboy Bebop is an all-time classic, absolute masterpiece from Shinichiro Watanabe. Let me preface this review by saying I will not be comparing it directly with the anime, because if you take basically any anime that has a live action adaptation and try to compare it one for one, the anime is gonna win 9 out of 10 times. 9.9 out of 10 times, okay? You get it, all right? So we're just gonna be talking about the live action, the characters, the plot, the music, all of that jazz, all right? So I'm gonna try to keep a little bit of an order while I'm doing this, but it'll probably end up all over the place. But first off, we're gonna talk about the characters, because when the characters got revealed, when the cast was revealed, it was a big deal about who was playing who, how these characters didn't fit, all of that jazz. So first up, the main character, the most important character of the series, we have John Cho playing Spike Spiegel. I actually really liked this casting of John Cho. Yes, he's older than Spike is, and that was one of the things people were concerned about, but I think John Cho, I won't say he nailed it, but I think he did a pretty good job as Spike Spiegel. He had that snarky wittiness that Spike has, and it's tough to embody all of what Spike Spiegel is. That is one of the coolest anime characters of all time. One of the biggest things with Spike Spiegel is the fights. Anytime there's a fight with Spike, he moves so fluidly, you know, he's flowing like water, you know the vibes, but he moves so fluidly and everything just seems so easy for him. Whereas in this live action, not that John Cho struggled, but I think they focused a little bit too hard on those fight scenes and they almost seemed like they were moving in slow motion. But we'll get to the fight scenes later on. I think all in all, John Cho captured the essence of who Spike Spiegel is. It wasn't a direct one-for-one because the live action went a different route than the anime did, so there's some differences there, but I think John Cho as Spike Spiegel was a good fit. I know a lot of people were asking for like Keanu Reeves or someone like that to be Spike Spiegel, but I don't think Keanu Reeves would have captured all of who Spike Spiegel is like John Cho did, for the most part. Next up, we have Mustafa Shakir as Jetblack. This was hands down the best casting of the entire series. Mustafa Shakir absolutely nailed this, even down to the voice of Jetblack. Like, that's the one thing John Cho definitely could not capture with Spike. It's not Steve Blum. Steve Blum, one of the most iconic voice actors of all time. I think Mustafa Shakir really captured everything that is Jetblack. Absolutely nailed that performance. And of course, you're gonna have people, oh, why'd they cast Jetblack as a black guy? Like, whatever, who cares? Jetblack is gonna be black today, okay? But yeah, absolutely nailed it. Loved his performance. He was 100% one of the top highlights of the entire live action series. And with that, Mustafa Shakir captured his personality as well. Even the dialogue that he had between him and Spike or him and Faye, like, it was Jet. That was Jetblack, and I'm so happy about that choice. All right, next up, we have Daniella Pineda as Faye Valentine. Daniella Pineda, I think she did a fantastic job as Faye, but I think she was held back by some of the dialogue of the series. I think Daniella Pineda captured the badassness that is Faye Valentine, but I think the dialogue of the series made her seem way more over the top than Faye ever was in the anime. One of the key parts of the anime is when Faye discovers her past and starts to learn about herself, and I think the live action actually did a pretty decent job of that, and I think Daniella Pineda did a good job of capturing those emotions that Faye felt in the anime. Out of the main trio of the cast, I would say this one was not the weakest casting, because Daniella Pineda did a fantastic job, but I think she was really held back by some of the script writing. And I know there's a lot more characters out there besides the 5 that I'm gonna talk about here, but so we have Alex Haskell as Vicious, and then Elena Satine as Julia. I did not like these casting choices at all, like at all. I don't think either of them caught the essence of those characters, and I'm not blaming the actors or the actresses or anybody when we're talking about the cast. It's more so the way they were written in the series. Granted, I do have to be a little bit critical. Vicious's casting, Alex Haskell, no, just didn't do it. It just did not do it for me. Fantastic actor, just was not the right role. Vicious and Julian, the live action, felt like completely different characters from the anime. That just didn't seem like Vicious and Julia. I don't know about you guys, but that just didn't seem like Vicious and Julia to me. In the anime, Vicious seemed a lot more calm, cool, collected, sinister, evil. And I think they got the sinister and the evil part in the live action because they just made him basically like some insane killer doing all this stuff, which even in the anime, you know he like doesn't care about a lot of people. Like he will murder people, no problem. But like, I think they went over the top in the live action. And then Julia, in the anime, you don't really see Julia's personality that much because she's barely in the series. But they made her such a focal point in the live action. And maybe it's because we don't see her that much in the series that we don't really get a feel for her personality. But the way she was portrayed in the live action is not what I pictured for Julia. With that being said, I think they nailed 3 out of the 5 choices for the main characters of the show. Hey, guess who got their swagger back? Nah, it's obviously a new day. You know, the hair, the new hair, the Cowboy Bebop Project Mori hoodie. You know the vibes, But yeah, we're back, all right? So we're gonna move on to another part. Sorry, I'm too lazy to film it all in one sitting, but it is what it is. Life happens, all right? So let's move on. Now we're gonna talk about the plot of the show. So if you've seen the original anime, you understand Cowboy Bebop is more of an episodic series with a plot that kind of formulates and moves on in the background of the show. Even then, in the anime, the plot that we see happening in the background is more of a character-centric story, so we see all of the main characters kind of go through their own mini arcs throughout the show. With that being said, I was interested to see how they handle it in the live action because I didn't want a one-for-one episode 1 of the anime and episode 1 of the live action are going to be the exact same thing, even though they kind of were in this case. But it was just a few episodes here and there where they tried to follow the anime and use that as inspiration for the episode. I do like some of the original touches that they added for the live action, and the couple episodes where we see Jet and his relationship with his daughter and his ex-wife, that was something that we didn't get in the anime. And I thought that was really interesting and actually provided a little bit more to kind of Jet's personality and why he is the way he is. As I said earlier, I think Faye's whole background and story was portrayed really well in the live action. Again, it wasn't the exact copy as it went in the anime, but I think they did a good job of adapting that. Spike's story plays out throughout the entirety of the series, and you can see that in the anime and in the live action, and I think they did an okay job with that, but the main issue for me came with those last couple of episodes of the live action. I won't get into every episode specifically, but it was around episode 7 of the live action where I think the most important plot, they really started to change that from the anime, and that's where I believe the issues really started to come up for me. Honestly, up until this point of the live action, I was thoroughly enjoying it. Probably would have given it like a 7 out of 10 in all honesty, because it's not the worst live action I've ever seen by far, but it's also not the Rurouni Kenshin live action, which was fantastic. Again, this kind of gets back to the whole way Julia and Vicious were portrayed in the live action, because what happened in the live action, I was not expecting at all. And I do appreciate that they tried to go their own way with it, but I just don't think it fit those characters. My biggest issue with the live action came in the final episode, Supernova Symphony, which they basically tried to match from Ballad of Fallen Angels, which is one of the greatest anime episodes of all time, in my opinion. This episode was the reason the score is dropping for me. Once again, I appreciate that they tried to go their own route with it, but none of this fit. It just didn't seem right. And the way that they tried to capture the essence of the Ballad of Fallen Angels, it seemed very forced, whereas the rest of the series, I don't think anything was forced upon the live action. Whereas here, this whole episode seemed very forced, and they tried to make it work in that same Cowboy Bebop anime style, but it just didn't do it for me. And it was also at this point where I think they kind of lost their way, because we see Faye leaving at the end of this episode, which again, doesn't need to be one for one with the anime, but just doesn't fit for what just happened in the series. And then we have Jet, which with the addition of Jet's daughter into the live action, I think it fit with Jet being so pissed off at Spike and telling him to piss off, and if he ever sees him again, he's gonna kill him. But something about it seems like they were scrambling to kind of throw all these pieces together to turn it into something else. Not only that, but now Julia is some badass who is gonna take over the syndicate and locks up Vicious, is gonna have him as a prisoner. Like, what part of Julia in the anime would that ever have even been a possibility? Again, I've said it a lot, I did not want a one for one from the anime to the live action, but at least sort of keep the essence of the characters. And of course, we have to talk about Ed's reveal at the end of the episode. I don't know. It caught me so off guard, and that costume, just Ed's look was like, you are really forcing that. They could have had some curly haired redhead person with green glasses, like that last episode really irked me, if you couldn't tell. Now, just to talk about some of the other details of the series, let's talk about the dialogue. The dialogue of the series felt very 80s buddy cop, Starsky and Hutch type dialogue, which at some points I think fit with the comedy, but at other points it was like, okay, now you're doing a little bit too much. To add on to that, I wish they wouldn't have had Faye curse every third word that she said, because she is not like that in the anime. She's a badass, she's brash in the anime, but they had her cursing almost every sentence of the live action, and it was almost to the point where it took me out of the experience of Cowboy Bebop. I will say the witty parts between Jet and Spike, Jet and Faye, Spike and Faye, I do think those fit the cast and fit the original feel of Cowboy Bebop, so I wasn't mad about that, but the other parts were a little over the top. The music, no complaints about the music whatsoever. The music was one of the highlights of the series. Yoko Kanno came back. You can't have any complaints when Yoko Kanno's involved. I love that they used music from the anime and plugged it in and even added a little bit of flair to some of the songs. I have no complaints about the music whatsoever, and actually really love the music from the live action. And of course, we have to talk about the wardrobes. I think John Cho looked great in his suit. I think the suit that they picked out for him, it wasn't the classic like light blue lapel and the little buttons for Spike, but I think the suit that they picked out, I think it worked. I thought it was a good look. Jet, again, Jet's casting was perfect. Everything about Jet was perfect, and they did a fantastic job with that. One of the most controversial choices was Faye's outfit for the live action, which of course you had a lot of dudes out there be like, oh my God, like she's not showing enough skin. What is this? This isn't Faye. Could you imagine someone trying to actually bounty hunt in what Faye wore in the anime? Like, come on. So I have no complaints what they did with Daniella Pineda's outfit in the show. I thought Faye looked fantastic, and they did a really good job with that. Vicious and Julia, they fit. I think their outfits, there was nothing special. There was nothing clunky looking about them. I think they fit. And one of the other parts of the show we definitely have to talk about is the backgrounds and kind of the scenery of everything. I thought they did a great job with the Bebop. It felt like you were a part of the crew and actually watching them in the anime on the Bebop. So I really appreciated what they did with that. Whenever they were in the towns, it felt like I was watching one of those comedic series or movies where the backgrounds are purposefully made to look like a Hollywood movie set. And that kind of took me out of the experience. The backgrounds almost had this old Western feel to them, which again is a part of Cowboy Bebop, but I think they could have done a little more to make it not look so much like a Hollywood set. I know I said a lot and this review was all over the place, and there's definitely a bunch of things I could have touched on more and some things that I probably could have left out. Again, it's my first review, give me a little leeway here, but if I had to give this series a rating out of 10, I would probably give it a 6 out of 10. It was better than average, but it wasn't much better than average. Rurouni Kenshin live action is still the best live action I've seen, and it definitely wasn't as bad as the Dragon Ball Z live actions. I'm not gonna lie, I was looking forward to more of the series and how they were going to carry on into season 2, but as we found out, season 2 has been canceled. The show has been canceled by Netflix, so I guess we're not gonna get any more. But that's all I got for you guys for this video. If you wanna hit that subscribe, like, share button for me, that would be really appreciated. If you didn't like it, act like you never watched this video. I don't even exist to you. Let's just be cool about that, all right? Let me know if there's anything else you guys want me to review, whether it's live action or it's another anime, and I'd be happy to do so. So until next time, peace. Am I still recording? Not planned at all. The series got canceled. The season 2 got canceled. Holy shit. Oh, wow. I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles, shit.